I'm Daniel, a 42-year-old architect, married to Clara for 15 years. Our life in Portland was a canvas of routine. Coffee brewed at dawn, her yoga classes, my late nights sketching blueprints. Clara, with her auburn hair and infectious laugh, was my anchor. We'd built a home, not just walls, but dreams. Plans for a cabin by the coast, whispers of a child someday. Yet lately her eyes drifted. She'd linger on her phone, her smiles guarded, her touch fleeting. I chalked it up to stress. Her art gallery was struggling, and I was buried in a high-stakes project for a new museum. But the air felt heavy, like a storm brewing beyond the horizon. Last Tuesday, I came home early. The house was silent, her car gone. A note on the fridge, out with friends, back late. Friends. She'd mentioned a new group from the gallery, artsy types, vibrant, unlike our quiet circle. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? But curiosity gnawed. Her laptop sat open on the counter, a rare oversight. I hesitated, then typed her password, our anniversary. Emails loaded, and one caught my eye. Meet me at the loft, 8 p.m. Bring the wine. No name, just an initial, R. My stomach twisted. The loft? Our downtown studio where she painted. I closed the laptop, heart pounding. It was nothing, I told myself. A misunderstanding. But doubt had taken root, a weed choking my trust. That night, she returned at midnight, smelling of lavender and something sharper. Cologne, maybe. Fun night, I asked casual. She nodded, eyes avoiding mine. Just gallery stuff, she said, slipping upstairs. I didn't sleep. The next day, I checked her phone while she showered. A text from Rachel read, "Last night was magic. Again soon. Rachel." Her gallery assistant. But the tone felt wrong, too intimate. I scrolled up, messages deleted. My chest tightened. Clara emerged, towel-wrapped, humming. I smiled, hiding the storm inside. I needed proof, not paranoia. But the loft haunted me. I decided to go there tomorrow unannounced to see what gallery stuff really meant. The loft was our sanctuary, a raw space with exposed brick and skylights, where Clara painted her abstracts. Swirls of blue and gold, emotions on canvas. I'd helped her lease it, carried her easels up 3 flights. Now it felt like enemy territory. Wednesday evening, I told Clara I had a client dinner. She kissed my cheek, distracted, and said she'd be at the gallery late. Perfect. I drove to the loft, parking a block away. The street was quiet, rain slicking the cobblestones. My key turned in the lock, and I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. Inside, the air was warm, scented with paint and something else, wine perhaps. Her easels stood untouched, canvases blank. Clara hadn't painted in weeks, yet she was here constantly. A bottle of Merlot sat on the table, 2 glasses, one smudged with lipstick. My pulse quickened. Then I saw it, a jacket draped over a chair. Not hers. Men's, leather, expensive. My mind raced. Was R a man? I searched for more. Her sketchbook, usually open, was tucked under a cloth. I flipped it open. Sketches of a face, angular, bearded, not mine. My hands shook. Footsteps echoed below. I froze, slipping behind a curtain. Clara's laugh floated up, then a deeper voice. "You're late," she teased. A man replied, "Worth it for you." My blood ran cold. They entered, her arm linked with his, a tall guy, maybe 35, with a beard and sharp eyes. I recognized him, Ryan, the gallery's new investor. They didn't see me. She poured wine, her fingers brushing his. "To us," she said, clinking glasses. My world tilted. This wasn't a fling. It was intimacy, a shared secret. They moved to the couch, her head on his shoulder. Couldn't breathe. I stayed hidden, every word a dagger. They spoke of trips, plans, a future without me. I don't know how I drove home. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, as Clara's laugh echoed in my skull. Ryan, the man funding her gallery, charming her dreams, stealing her heart. I got home before her, forcing calm. When she walked in, humming, I was at the kitchen table, pretending to read. Good night, I asked, voice steady. She nodded, radiant. Productive, she said, kissing my forehead. Productive. The word burned. I nodded, smiling. A mask I'd wear until I understood the depth of her betrayal. The next day, I dug deeper. At work, I searched Ryan online. Ryan Caldwell, 34, art collector, single, a rising star in Portland's scene. His Instagram was public. Photos of gallery openings, Clara in half of them, her smile brighter than I'd seen in years. Captions like "My Muse" and "Late Nights," "Best Fights." Public, brazen. My colleagues noticed my distraction, but I waved them off. I called the gallery, pretending to be a client. Rachel answered. "Clara's with an investor," she said, giggling. "They're always together." I hung up, nausea rising. At home, I watched Clara. She cooked, sang, oblivious to my turmoil. I tested her, mentioning Ryan casually. "He's brilliant," she said, eyes sparkling. "The gallery's thriving because of him." Thriving. I nodded, bile in my throat. That night, I checked her laptop again. More emails, coded but clear. The loft, tomorrow. I needed a plan, not just proof. Revenge simmered, but it had to be precise, devastating. I'd play her game, let her think she was safe while I built my trap. I couldn't do this alone. Confronting Clara now would end in denials, tears, her spinning lies. I needed someone who knew her world, someone who'd seen the cracks. Rachel, her assistant, was my best bet. I'd met her once. Quiet, observant, loyal to Clara but maybe not blind. Thursday morning, I went to the gallery, claiming I'd forgotten Clara's scarf. Rachel was alone, sorting invoices. "She's out," she said, wary. I leaned in, voice low. "I know about Ryan. I need the truth." Her eyes widened, then darted away. "I don't know what you mean," she stammered. I pressed, gentle but firm. "I saw them, at the loft. You've covered for her, haven't you?" Silence. Then a nod, barely perceptible. Rachel wasn't complicit, just trapped. Clara had manipulated her, promising promotions, exploiting her loyalty. "She's changed," Rachel whispered. "Since Ryan, she's reckless." She revealed fragments. Meetings that weren't meetings, late nights, Clara's lies about friends. Ryan wasn't just an investor. He was her obsession, her escape from our stale life. I left with a shaky alliance. Rachel wouldn't betray Clara outright, but she'd feed me details. Guilt her currency. Back home, I mapped my next move. Clara's betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was financial. Ryan's investments were tied to her gallery, but so was our joint account. I checked our bank statements. Withdrawals? Unexplained. Thousands funneled to gallery expenses. My money, our future, fueling her affair. Rage grew, but I tempered it. Revenge needed patience, a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. That night, Clara hosted a dinner for gallery donors. Ryan was there, shaking my hand, his smirk a silent taunt. I played the doting husband, laughing, toasting Clara's success. She glowed, unaware I was watching every glance she shared with him. My plan was forming. Dismantle their world, expose their lies, but not yet. I'd let them dig deeper, believing they were untouchable. Friday, I hired a private investigator, a discreet woman named Ellen, recommended by a colleague. I gave her everything: Ryan's name, the loft's address, Clara's schedule. "I want proof," I said. "Photos, recordings, anything undeniable." Ellen nodded, her eyes sharp. "Give me a week." I also contacted a lawyer quietly to understand my options. Our prenup was ironclad, infidelity clauses, asset splits. Clara's betrayal could cost her the gallery, our savings, everything. But I didn't want just legal wins. I wanted her to feel the weight of her choices. At home, I kept up the facade. Clara was bolder now, leaving her phone unlocked, as if daring me to look. Texts from R about tomorrow's masterpiece. I copied them, building my dossier. Saturday, she said she was visiting her sister in Seattle. I called her sister, no visit planned. Ellen texted me, Target at Loft, 9 p.m. I didn't go. I trusted Ellen to document it. Instead, I went through Clara's studio at home, finding sketches, letters, a hidden journal. Her words gutted me. Daniel's safe, but Ryan's alive. I'm awake with him. Alive. I was her foundation, yet she craved his fire. Sunday, Ellen sent photos. Clara and Ryan, tangled on the loft's couch, wine glasses scattered. The clarity was brutal, her laugh, his hands, their ease. I stared, memorizing every detail, fueling my resolve. Revenge wasn't enough. It had to be art, a masterpiece of pain. I started planning subtle moves, freezing accounts, redirecting gallery funds, whispering doubts to donors through anonymous emails. Clara and Ryan thought they were building a future. I'd ensure it was ash. Monday morning, I sat in my office, blueprints ignored, Ellen's photos burning a hole in my inbox. Clara and Ryan, entwined, oblivious to the lens capturing their betrayal. I forwarded the images to my lawyer, Sarah, who confirmed the prenup's infidelity clause could strip Clara of her gallery stake and half our assets. But legal victories felt hollow. I wanted Clara to unravel, to taste the isolation she'd forced on me. I called Rachel our uneasy ally. Anything new? I asked. She hesitated, then whispered, they're planning a show, just them. Ryan's funding it, but Clara's using gallery money, your money. Our joint account had bled thousands, labeled supplies or events. I logged into our bank, freezing Clara's access to new withdrawals. She'd notice soon, but I'd play dumb. That evening, I suggested dinner out, a test. Clara agreed, distracted, checking her phone. At the restaurant, I watched her fidget, her charm dimmed. Everything okay? I asked, feigning concern. Just gallery stress, she said, eyes darting. I nodded, hiding my satisfaction. Her world was fraying, and she didn't know why. Back home, I dug into Ryan's finances. Public records showed his investments were shaky, loans, not cash, tied to his art deals. Clara's gallery was his lifeline, propped up by our savings. If I pulled that thread, both would collapse. I emailed an anonymous tip to a local art blog, hinting at Ryan's questionable funding and Clara's close involvement. Gossip travels fast in Portland's art scene. By morning, the blog posted a vague but damning piece. Clara called me at lunch, frantic. Someone's spreading lies about the gallery. I soothed her, voice steady, while my pulse raced. The web was tightening. Clara's gallery hosted a masquerade ball Saturday, a fundraiser Ryan had pushed. I insisted on attending, claiming pride in her work. She hesitated but agreed, her mask of affection slipping. The venue glowed with chandeliers, guests in feathered masks swirling to jazz. Clara wore gold, radiant, Ryan at her side in black velvet. I wore a plain mask, blending in, watching. Their touches were subtle. A hand on her waist, her laugh too bright, but undeniable. Guests whispered about the blog post, eyeing Ryan. His charm faltered. Clara's smile strained. I mingled, dropping calculated hints. To a donor, I mused, heard the gallery's over-leveraged. Hope Clara's careful. To another, Ryan's ambitious, but is he solid? Seeds of doubt, planted with a smile. Rachel, masked as a peacock, found me. She's furious, she whispered. Ryan's blaming her for the rumors. Perfect. I slipped upstairs, where Clara's office held files. Unlocked, careless. I photographed invoices, gallery funds funneled to Ryan's personal accounts. Embezzlement, clear as day. My phone buzzed, Ellen. Check your email. Audio. I stepped into a quiet hall, listening. Clara's voice, soft, to Ryan. Daniel's clueless. We'll leave soon, start over. My blood boiled. Soon wasn't soon enough. I returned to the ball, mask in place, heart a furnace. Clara danced with Ryan, unaware I held their ruin in my pocket. I toasted her success publicly, my words honeyed, her applause a lie. Revenge was close, but not yet. I needed them to feel secure, to climb higher before the fall. Sunday, Clara was a storm. The bank's frozen my cards, she fumed, pacing our kitchen. I feigned shock, suggesting a glitch. "I'll call tomorrow," I promised, knowing I'd blocked her access. She softened, leaning into me, her touch a mockery. "You're my rock," she said. I smiled, bile rising. That afternoon, Ellen sent the audio transcript. Clara and Ryan planned to siphon more funds, then disappear to Paris, leaving the gallery, and me, bankrupt. Her journal, found in her studio, confirmed it. "Ryan's my future. Daniel's my past." I met Sarah, my lawyer, at a cafe. She reviewed the invoices, audio, and photos. "This is fraud, not just infidelity," she said. "You could ruin them legally, but it'll take months." Months were too long. I wanted pain now, sharp and personal. I contacted a tech friend, Mark, who owed me a favor. "Can you hack Ryan's email?" I asked. He nodded, no questions. By evening, Mark sent screenshots, Ryan's messages to other investors, promising returns he couldn't deliver, using Clara's gallery as collateral. A house of cards, ready to collapse. At home, Clara packed for a gallery trip. I didn't ask where. Ellen was tailing her. I kissed Clara goodbye, my lips cold. "Be safe," I said, meaning it for myself. Alone, I planned the next phase. I'd expose their fraud publicly, but not through courts. The art world thrived on reputation. I'd shatter theirs, piece by piece, until they had nothing left. Monday, the art blog posted again, this time with leaked emails, Ryan's courtesy of Mark. They detailed his shady deals, naming Clara as his partner. The art scene erupted. Donors called Clara, furious. Ryan's investors pulled out. She came home late, pale, eyes red. "It's a setup," she said, voice shaking. "Someone's targeting us." Her and Ryan, not me. I hugged her, whispering, "We'll fix this," while my mind churned. The blog was just the start. I'd sent copies of the invoices to key donors, anonymously, hinting at audits. Ellen's next report was gold. Ryan and Clara met at a hotel, not the loft, arguing. Photos showed Ryan grabbing her arm, her face tear-streaked. Their alliance was cracking. Rachel texted, "She's scared." Ryan's blaming her. Good. I pushed harder, meeting a donor, pretending concern. "I heard the gallery's books are off," I said. He nodded, promising to investigate. That night, Clara barely spoke, her phone buzzing with Ryan's calls. She ignored them, a small victory for me. I wasn't done. Mark planted a virus in Ryan's laptop, subtle, erasing his financial records. By Wednesday, his deals were in chaos. Clara's gallery faced audits, her dreams crumbling. She clung to me, unaware I was the architect of her ruin. My revenge was a symphony, each note precise, building to a crescendo she'd never see coming. Thursday, I escalated. I met with a journalist, Lisa, from a local paper, posing as a concerned citizen. I handed her everything, photos, emails, invoices, audio snippets. "The gallery's a front," I said. "Clara and Ryan are fleecing investors." Lisa's eyes gleamed. This was her scoop. I insisted on anonymity. She agreed, promising a story by Sunday. I also tipped off the IRS, anonymously, about Ryan's tax evasion. His empire was crumbling, and Clara's with it. At home, Clara was a ghost, staring at her laptop, fielding panicked calls. "The donors are bailing," she whispered. I nodded, offering tea, my kindness ablaze. Ellen sent video. Ryan at a bar, yelling at Clara via phone, their bond fractured. I smiled, alone, plotting the final blow. I'd stage a confrontation, not private, but public, where their lies would choke them. The gallery's next event, a Friday auction, was perfect. I'd ensure their exposure was a spectacle, their shame eternal. That night, Clara cried in my arms, saying she'd failed. "You're enough," I lied, stroking her hair. Inside, I burned. She'd chosen Ryan, betrayed our vows, stolen our future. Now I'd steal theirs. The auction loomed, my trap set, my revenge of fire ready to consume them both. Friday morning, the gallery buzzed with anticipation for the evening's auction. Clara's last chance to save her reputation. She was a whirlwind, barking orders at Rachel, her eyes hollow from sleepless nights. I offered to help, insisting on driving her to the venue. "You're a saint," she said, squeezing my hand. I smiled, my heart a cold engine. The journalist Lisa's article was set to drop online at 8 p.m., mid-auction, exposing Clara and Ryan's fraud. I'd ensured donors, critics, and investors would be there, their phones ready to light up with the news. Ellen sent a final update. Ryan was unraveling, his investors gone, his accounts frozen by IRS probes I'd triggered. He'd be at the auction, desperate to salvage his name. Perfect. I'd orchestrated a stage where their lies would collapse under the spotlight. At home, I packed a small bag, passports, cash, essentials. Not for Clara, but for me. After tonight, I'd vanish, leaving her to face the wreckage. My lawyer, Sarah, had prepared divorce papers, citing infidelity and fraud, ready to file tomorrow. The prenup would gut Clara's claims to our assets. At the gallery, chandeliers gleamed, art lined the walls, and guests in tuxedos sipped champagne. Clara wore emerald silk, her mask of confidence brittle. Ryan arrived, bearded, jaw tight, avoiding her gaze. I mingled, whispering to donors about rumors of mismanagement, fueling their unease. Rachel, pale, slipped me a note. "She knows something's wrong." I nodded, calm. The auction began, Clara's voice bright as she presented a painting. My phone buzzed, Lisa, confirming the article's release. I waited, watching the crowd, their phones glowing as notifications hit. At 8:03 p.m., the article dropped. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, heads bowing to screens. Clara, mid-sentence, faltered as a donor raised a hand. "Is this true? You and Caldwell embezzled funds." Her face drained of color. Ryan stepped forward, voice sharp, denying everything, but phones flashed screenshots. His emails, my leaked invoices, Ellen's photos of them at the loft. Clara's eyes found mine, wide with panic. I stood, expression neutral, the betrayed husband playing his part. The auctioneer paused, chaos swelling. Donors demanded answers. Critics typed furiously, live-tweeting the scandal. Lisa's article was merciless. Clara Thompson and Ryan Caldwell, lovers and thieves, bled Portland's art scene dry. Photos of their hotel meetings, audio snippets of their Paris plans, my evidence now public. Clara tried to speak, voice cracking, but booze drowned her. Ryan grabbed her arm, hissing, "You leaked this." She shook him off, tears streaming. I stepped forward, voice steady. "Clara, is it true?" The crowd hushed. She stared, speechless, guilt etched in her silence. I didn't need her answer. The room condemned her. Donors pulled bids. Investors stormed out. Rachel, at the edge, met my eyes, her nod confirming she'd slipped Lisa extra files. Ryan fled, shoving through the crowd, his empire ash. Clara collapsed into a chair, sobbing, as the gallery emptied. I approached, kneeling beside her. "Why?" I whispered, loud enough for stragglers to hear. She had no words. I stood, leaving her there, my exit the final cut. I drove home, the city a blur. Clara stayed at the gallery, facing reporters alone. My phone buzzed. "Rachel." Texting. "She's broken. Ryan's gone." Good. I packed my bag, leaving Clara's clothes, her art, her life untouched. Our home, once a sanctuary, felt like a tomb. I wrote a note. "You chose him. Now live with it." I left it on her pillow, beside divorce papers Sarah had couriered. The prenup ensured she'd get nothing. Our savings, the house, the cabin dreams, all mine. I drove to a motel, paying cash. Ellen called, confirming Ryan's arrest, tax evasion, thanks to my IRS tip. Clara wasn't charged, but the gallery was under audit, its doors shuttered. Social media raged. Hashtag Clara Scandal trended, her name synonymous with deceit. I scrolled, detached, her ruin complete. My revenge wasn't violence or confrontation. It was obliteration. Her identity, her passion, her future, erased. She'd wake tomorrow to a world that despised her, No husband, no lover, no art. I booked a flight to Lisbon, one way, for dawn. Portugal was far, neutral, a place to rebuild. Mark, my tech friend, had wiped my digital trail, ensuring Clara couldn't track me. I'd sell the house remotely, funnel the money to new accounts. My architect firm had branches abroad. I'd start over, untethered. As I lay in the motel, Clara's laugh echoed. A ghost. I didn't hate her. I pitied her, a woman who traded love for illusion, now paying the price. Saturday, I stopped by the gallery before my flight, dawn light casting shadows on its locked doors. Inside, Clara's paintings remained, unsold, worthless now. I slipped a USB drive through the mail slot, labeled Memories. It held every photo, email, and audio clip, her betrayal preserved, a mirror she'd face forever. Not for her, but for me, a final release. I'd carried her lies too long. Now they were hers alone. My phone showed missed calls, Clara, Rachel, even my sister, worried. I ignored them. At the airport, I checked the news. Lisa's follow-up article detailed the gallery's collapse, Clara's silence, Ryan's indictment. Commenters called her a fraud, a homewrecker. I boarded the plane, my seat by the window, Portland shrinking below. Clara would wake to my note, the divorce papers, an empty house. She'd search for me, find nothing. My revenge was her abandonment, her reflection in a world that turned away. In Lisbon, I'd rent a small flat, sketch again, maybe teach. The art world scandal would fade, but Clara's shame wouldn't. She'd rebuild, perhaps, but never as the woman I loved. That woman was gone, buried in the loft's wine-stained couch. I closed my eyes, the plane humming, freedom bittersweet but mine. Lisbon's sun was warmer than Portland's, its streets alive with color. A month later, I sat in a cafe, sketching a plaza. My laptop open to emails from my firm's European branch. The house sold, funds wired to a new account. Clara hadn't contested the divorce. Sarah said she'd signed, silent, her lawyer citing emotional distress. The gallery was bankrupt, its art seized for debts. Ryan faced trial, his name toxic. Clara lived with her sister, shunned by the art scene, a pariah. I didn't gloat. Revenge had been surgical, not savage. A dismantling of her world, leaving her to face her choices. The USB drive, Rachel told me, was found by Clara, who burned it, sobbing, unable to erase its truth. She tried calling, emailing, but I'd blocked her, my life a closed book. My cruelty wasn't in pain but in absence. I gave her nothing, not even anger, to hold on to. My sketches turned to paintings, abstracts like Clara's but mine, blues and grays, loss and renewal. A local gallery showed interest, unaware of my past. I didn't need fame, just purpose. At night, I walked Lisbon's hills, the ocean a distant hum. Clara's betrayal, once a wound, was now a scar, proof I'd survived. I'd loved her, wholly, and she'd chosen Ryan's fire over my steady flame. My revenge was living, thriving, while she drowned in her ashes. I raised my coffee, toasting the horizon. Daniel, the architect, was gone. Here I was just a man building a new life, one stroke at a time.